So, Washington Post columnist Josh Rogan is a notorious neoconservative. He's not one of the old guard ones like Bill Kristol or Eli Lake. There's more, but the ones who really stand out as like the classic neoconservatives. He's more just like a low-level younger one. His beat with the Washington Post, as far as I know, is red-baiting China and trying to instigate a new Cold War with them. I'm sure he writes about other stuff too, but anything I've read from him is about China. And so on April 14th, Rogan published a conspiracy theory that COVID-19 was developed as a bioweapon in Wuhan. This conspiracy theory was thriving on alternative right-wing conspiracy theory platforms like InfoWars.
I have all these other government documents.
As well as with ideologues like Steve Bannon and, neoconservative think tanks.
The biggest conclave of conservatives in America.
But Rogan managed to launder this conspiracy theory into both mainstream conservative and liberal discourse. Just a side note about Josh Rogan, I was first exposed to this guy a couple of years ago when I was doing my old blog. He wrote this repulsive-ass article about the Confucius Institute, which the Confucius Institute is basically, for example, I took German classes when I was in college. There was a program there sponsored by the German government called the Goethe Institute. And the goal of it was to give people resources when they learn German as a foreign language. The Confucius Institute does the same exact thing, but for China. And Rogan wrote a conspiracy theory article about how this Confucius Institute was actually secretly being used for evil Chinese espionage. That's just a side note, but that's where this guy's operating from. So, previously the theory he brought up, the Wuhan bioweapon virus, was relegated to, like I said, the corners of online conspiracy media. But Rogan's article legitimized it because the very next day, Fox News' Brett Baier published a remarkably similar article for Fox News. And that same night, scumbag Tom Cotton, I don't know if he's a senator... Scumbag Tom Cotton, the congressman from Arkansas, echoed the same argument Rogan did on Fox News. So while Republicans coordinated and accelerated this coronavirus conspiracy theory closer to the mainstream, Josh Rogan's presence in the liberal Washington Post has also brought the theory into liberal mainstream. A lot of gullible liberal nerds, I should say, bought into it because they believe whatever the fake Washington Post tells them.
The Amazon Washington Post.
Yashar Ali of New York Magazine tweeted out Rogan's article. BuzzFeed's Tom Gara called the theory, quote, totally plausible, and MSNBC host Chris Hayes tweeted the article with the caption, yikes.
That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
This goes to show how helpless it is when liberals criticize conservatives for their anti-China xenophobia. Liberals are such gullible nerds that they echo the same exact propagandas that conservatives do. Then, when conservatives take that propaganda to its logical, xenophobic conclusion, liberals clutch their pearls. The whole point of telling people that China is making bioweapons is to increase xenophobia. conservatives are just following the intentional lead of their propaganda.
I'm going to start recognizing the propaganda.
And I just wanted to highlight this on the show because I think people don't realize the way narratives get laundered throughout discourse. They start one place, then one person says this, then one person says that. It starts with freaking Alex Jones, but in reality it starts before that with people working at neoconservative think tanks who want a Cold War with China. They launder that information through some people who then Alex Jones picks it up because he picks up anything like that. And then before you know it, Chris Hayes is going, yikes!
That's gonna be a yikes